Ah, man, I gotta tell you, the emotions running through my mind and heart, and sitting here thinking about everything, man. It's overwhelming. Can I use that? Seeing everybody, being back in Sallisaw, man, God has taken me in this past year on a journey, past few years. Just the emotion, man. Sitting here crying last night, this morning, I'm telling you, I'm just overwhelmed. And thank you so much for allowing us to be here this morning. God bless. It's so good to be here. Lots of things have happened. The last time I was on this stage, I was saying goodbye to Master's Commission, a program I was graduated from and served for 5 years. I was saying goodbye, and very hard and emotional time. And God took me through a journey to ask myself, am I done with ministry? Is God done with me? I need to be okay, God. I need to know, is this what you want? Because if this is what you want, I'm okay with it. And I did 2 years, no ministry. Actually, I did a year of just worshiping God and working a great job and just having fun. Just raising my family and here in this town. And we were just loving life. And then this crazy team and a big, tall Mexican dude, Carlos Rodriguez. You guys may remember him. I remember last year sitting in the back here about this time, sitting right back in the back, watching him and his team minister. Not knowing that God was stirring some things up and getting ready to do a huge thing in my life and bring back that ministry calling. And man, almost a year later, here I am with our own team, with me and my wife that are serving down in Dalhart, Texas, serving under a great staff leadership. Couldn't ask for a better teacher. I mean, he's just phenomenal staff. Great, we're in great hands out there. Great people. We love the town. We love it. We miss Sallisaw, that's for sure. Nothing like Journey Church, so I say, for me and my family, it is good to be home. Gosh, I love it. Sallisaw will always be an altar moment in my life. Sallisaw will always be that place where God transformed who I thought I was. Think about it, man. If you guys remember who I am, I grew up, not grew up here, but I grew up in ministry here. I was a broke down ghetto kid from California who my man Joe Velasquez brought me out here with him and his family, and just to change my life. I didn't know what was going to happen. Came to this church, and man, I was just serving it, loving it, and scrubbing toilets and cleaning and vacuuming in here, and spent a lot of time in this room. But just loving, man, just loving to serve, and God introduced me to a crazy group called Master's Commission. And it's been downhill since. It's been, not downhill, sorry, wrong word. Sometimes it feels like it's downward. But no, it's been a crazy, crazy, crazy ride since then. Here, lots of things happen, man. I remember giving my life to Christ, back to Christ over here from when we first got here. And this is going, where's Joe at? This is like 8 years. You lived in Sallisaw now? Where's Joe at? There he is. 8 years? 8 years, going on 8 years in March. I remember that. I remember giving my life over there. I remember making that decision to follow Christ again. I remember back in Main Street when it was the kids' room back there in Master's Commission and feeling God's love for the first time over my life. Feeling real love. I'll never forget that. Lots of moments and altar moments here when I gave my first message in this room to a bunch of youth kids. When I graduated my Master's Commission, my first year, accomplishing something for the first time, I remember kneeling down in that moment that I felt accomplishing something, that God, I did something for him. He did something for me. A huge moment happened in my life where I graduated. Lots of things happened on this stage, man. I was able to be a part of a program where we graduated students year after year. I remember standing on this stage, and I remember my wife walking out of that back. I wasn't married yet, but she walking down this aisle. I got married on this stage. Lots of crazy things happened in this room. for me. Lots of good things, lots of transformations happened in my life. After coming, when I first moved out here, going through lots of devastation in California, the reason why I moved out here, to get out of trouble, not knowing what God had planned, not knowing what the purpose he had for me, and it's been crazy. Now I have a family. I have a 2-year-old. They say terrible twos. I think that's a nice word for crazy kid. I really do, man. He is, I'm seeing things and learning things about this kid, and he's not allowed to have cups because what he does with cups, he's not allowed to have them open cups. He can have a cup, but he can't have an open, no lid cup because he thinks it's fun to pour water out of the bathtub. It's just water everywhere. His mom don't like that. Animals are coming lining up 2 by 2. It's just crazy up in the bathroom. The dog's all wet, or the dog's learning how to swim. I'm telling you, I have a little Yorkie, so poor little dog. I told that dog, I said, hey, you're going to have to learn to do something, man, because the next one's coming in May 2nd. A year from now, he's going to be DAG team. So I said, man, yeah. May 2nd, we have our young boy, another boy coming. I'm excited for him. Lennox, that's his name. I don't know where I got it from, but Lennox is his name. But man, we are super excited for what God's doing in our lives out there. My family's growing. Things are happening for us, and we love the ministry. We didn't know Master's Commission was a part of the journey, the next step for us in ministry. Again, we didn't know we were going to get back into it, but I'm glad we did. These guys are phenomenal. This team of kids and young adults. Love working with them. It's been an honor so far. We've had a great year. You guys will hear from them. So, listen, we're going to read out of the Bible today. Well, I'm going to read out of my iPad. But if you have your Bible, we're going to start in Mark 6:45. I really believe that God gave us this message for y'all. I pray that it's for somebody, and we're just gonna go with the flow. Lots of familiar faces and new faces. We thank the Scotts for opening up their home to our girls, and the Bushes for opening up their home to crazy kids, a bunch of guys. Great to see family and friends. It's been overwhelming for me, so it's good. You guys good? All right, I promise I'm going to try my best to stay on my notes. But I have to tell you, sometimes I get way excited sometimes, man. I do. I get excited to share the gospel. I get excited to share that Jesus is real, that Jesus can do for me like he did for me. So I get excited about whenever we preach the gospel, we don't take it lightly. Anytime a pastor gives up our podium, Pastor Jose Velasquez, y'all know him. He always told me, he said, Mel, every time a pastor gives up his podium, do not take it lightly. So thank you to the pastor for allowing us to be here and share your podium this morning. We don't take it lightly, and we prepared, and we have purpose with the message that we're bringing here this morning. So we thank you guys for that. So, okay, Mark 6:45. Okay, we'll pick up on 45, verse 45. Jesus walks on water. It says, immediately after this, Jesus insisted, that his disciples go back into the boat and head across the lake, while he sent the people home. After telling everybody goodbye, he went up into the hill by himself to pray. Late that night, the disciples were in their boats in the middle of the lake, and Jesus was alone on the land. He saw that they were in serious trouble, rolling and struggling against the wind and the waves. About 3:00 in the morning, Jesus came towards them, walking on water. He intended to go past them, but then they saw him walking on the water. They cried out in terror, thinking that it was a ghost. They were They were all terrified when they saw him, but Jesus spoke out to them at once. "Do not be afraid," he said. "Take courage." The New King James Version says, "Be of good cheer, for it's me." Then he climbed into their boat, and the winds and the waves stopped, and they were totally amazed. We're going to stop right there for just a second. We're going to talk about devastation. How many's ever gone through some kind of devastation or some kind of problem or a situation in your life? You know, the biggest thing that I've ever saw, the biggest devastation I ever saw was here in Oklahoma, Moore, Oklahoma. We took a team from here when I was on staff and when we were working. We took a team, Mr. John was with me on this, and Darren was with me, and we took a team out to Moore, Oklahoma, and after a tornado had smashed through that town. And I remember seeing some of I'm from California. We don't have tornadoes or anything like that. So I remember going through there and seeing what I was seeing. And man, it was unbelievable. Some of the craziest things and the stuff that you would see, cars on roofs and things that you would see in movies or you heard of. But like when you're there, when you're actually there, the devastation, the craziness of that all and what that tornado did to that town was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. But the craziest thing about it is the people. The people were there, man. We see so many different personalities and people. We were trying to help them, but there was literally nothing that we can do. If you didn't have a tractor, a bulldozer, or anything like that, there was nothing you can do. And man, we seen people who were lost, confused, frustrated, angry, going through this hard time in their life. I remember going and asking a certain person, "Hey, is there anything that we can do? Can we?" And he said, "Get off my stuff." And he was yelling at us to get off his stuff. He was so upset. And I remember feeling so bad. I'm like, yeah, this is his house. And we're walking on his stuff, even though it was all crumbled and what looked like trash to us or, rubble, it was his home. And man, it was completely demolished. And the place where we took all the food and the pantry and all that stuff that they had, that same day, the same exact day as we were leaving, they had tornado sirens going off, and we left. But that same day, it wiped out their whole supply area. Think about that. It's just crazy. You go through devastation, and then there's a place for you to help, and then that place gets knocked out. And now what? What do you do? Sometimes in our life, we go through situations and devastations and craziness in our lives, and we ask, what do we do? There's a documentary on this whole thing, and it's called Where Was God? Because I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes when I dealt with things, I would say, where's God? What did I do so bad that this had to happen to me? You guys, be honest. How many of you have been there? Where's God? And we go through this situation with the disciples when they're on this boat. They go through this devastation, what they think is a devastation in their lives. Where's God? These people, when we're out there walking on foot, going through seeing what they're going through, there was nothing. It was so heartbreaking because there was nothing we can do. Nothing but just be there for them or just shake their hand. There was nothing. And I felt lost. Trying to help people out. When there's nothing for you to do, you just feel lost with them. You feel their hurt. I have a student he's going to share his story. He's going to share a story of a time where devastation may have come in his life, but God turned it all around.
When Rick mentions devastation, what comes to my head was something that happened a few years ago. Hold on, I'm a little nervous explaining this. Thank you. But it happened a few years ago. My mom got a house with my sister because she couldn't afford it she can't afford a house by herself. So my sister tried to help us, But then my older brother, one of my older brothers, gets out of prison and starts just causing problems. He's selling stuff out of our garage, people coming to our house that we don't want there. So my sister, she moves out, and then it leaves me and my mom there. My brothers don't really care, and then my dad, he's a schizophrenic, and he's also does drugs, so he's like in his own little world. And we end up losing the house. And when we lost that house, when we lost that house, we were literally almost living out of a car. Then I got in contact with my aunt, and and she took us in, and she set up all these rules. And one of those rules was she was making me go to church, and I didn't want to go. I was like, but she made me go to church, and if she didn't make me go to church, I wouldn't, or she wouldn't take us in or make me go to church, I wouldn't probably be standing here. I would probably be in the streets or somewhere like my brothers. I wouldn't have been with this great team. We're standing in front of you guys.
Good job. That's it's a big deal for us to have Mikey share his story. That's his first time, but not only that, he's not very much of a speaker like that. So God's really doing some cool things in his life. God's really doing some cool things in all these boys' lives and in our girls. If we had time to share all their stories. But let me tell you, man, Mikey has gone through some. In his time, he comes from a broken home, broken family, and me and him can relate on a lot of things. And, it's real crazy how he came about, and he'll try to get his way out of things. Hey, so and so's a better speaker than me, man. Just have him do it. He don't know that I was, he forgets that I was also a first and second year student and in this program, serving for a long time to know that I know every excuse that they're trying to come up with. So I never got away with it, so they can't either. So good job, Mike, man. Good job sharing your story, bro. So here we go with the disciples that are on this boat. Okay, and God sends them off after they just done this huge miracle. Backstory real quick. They just done this huge miracle. 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish. Y'all may have heard the story. Okay, they feed 5,000 people and probably some more. And they go through this whole deal. God just performs this huge miracle. And here they are on this boat, literally. Just happened. God sends all those crazy crowds of people home, or Jesus sends them home. Jesus goes up and prays, sends them back across on the lake. Here they are on this lake, on this wherever they're at. They're going back, and Jesus sees from a distance that he can see the storm. It says he can see the storm coming in their direction. Here they go through the storm. They go through the waves are coming. The rain's coming down. And if it's anything like Oklahoma rain, it's some rain. I tell you, there's no rain up there where I'm at, Lord. There's none. But listen, so here we go. They're on this journey. Or they're on this lake, and the storm's about to hit them. And they don't see it coming, but Jesus does. And it says that in the midst of that storm, in the midst of it all, they say that, they thought it was a ghost walking towards them. They couldn't even recognize Jesus. You think about the storm, though, how loud it was. The thunder, the lightning, the rain that's coming down, the wind howling, all that stuff is coming. And as it come down, as Jesus starts walking towards them, it says he intended as he's going to walk past them, like he didn't notice them. How awkward is that? But he says, here's what I love about this, the key word here. It says he called out to them in their storm, in their devastation, the thing that they were going through at that moment. He called out to them. Sometimes we feel like we go through our storms in our lives. We go through things in our lives, and we feel like there's nothing around. All we can hear is the storm. All we can focus on is the storm and the rain and the wind howling. The storm becomes bigger than our Jesus sometimes. We get so numb and we get so caught up in the situation. And sometimes the storm, sometimes those things in our life, those addictions or whatever you're going through, sometimes those things start to identify who you really are. Here's what I love. Jesus says he calls out to them. He calls out to them in their storm. He says, be of good cheer. Now, I don't know about you. Those are great words. But here's the thing I have. Here's the problem I have is the timing of those words. The timing of those words just don't match up for me. Because sometimes we go through problems in our life and we go through all those devastations. And he's saying, be of good cheer. Why, God? That would be my answer back to him. Why? Why should I be of good cheer? Why should I be of good cheer? This storm hasn't gone away. This stuff hasn't stopped in my life. I'm still addicted to all these different things. I'm still hiding behind the scenes, being this person that nobody sees. Why should I be of good cheer? Why? He said, because it's me. Here's what I love, is even when we go through storms in our lives, even when we go through situations in our lives, even when we can't recognize Jesus, he will call out to us. As they go through this hard time in their lives, as the wind's still howling, be of good cheer. It's me, Jesus. Be of good cheer. And you know what, God? I'll be of good cheer when my mom starts coming to church with me. Or I'll be of good cheer when my husband stops doing drugs. I'll be of good cheer when my husband stops hitting me. Or I'll be of good cheer when my children stop saying they hate me. Or I'll be of good cheer when my family stops talking about suicide. That's when I'll be of good cheer, God. That would be my answer. Why? Sometimes we go through storms and situations in our life and we're like, why should we? Why? Why should I be of good cheer? And Jesus says, simply because it's me. He says immediately when he got into that boat, the storm stopped. Immediately. It didn't say it kind of went away or it kind of slowed down. No, it says immediately the storm stopped. When you allow Jesus into your problems, even when you can't recognize him, he will call out to you. When you allow yourself to get to a point in your life that when you go through problems, even when you go through certain situations in your life, you can still recognize Jesus. Sometimes it's hard. Let's be honest. Sometimes we need help. In Mark 2, it says, when Jesus returned, several days later, the news spread quickly that they were coming back home. Soon the house where he was staying was packed with visitors, so much there was no more room, not even outside the door, while he was preaching God's word to them. 3 men arrived carrying a paralyzed man on a mat. They couldn't bring him into Jesus because of the crowd of people that were there. So they dug a hole through the roof and lowered him down in front of Jesus. Seeing their faith, Jesus said to the paralyzed man, "My child, you are free. You are healed. You have been set free of your sin. You've been forgiven." Here's the part we got to get to. We need some, what we call, Me Too friends. You know, you ever heard of a Me Too friend? That sounds scary, like something bad about to happen. I always bring Drew with me, man. He plays the keys, makes me sound real spiritual. I love it. But listen, we need Me Too friends in our lives. Let me tell you why. 8 years ago, I had a Me Too friend. His name's Joe Velasquez. I had a Me Too friend come into my life when I was going through a hard time, devastation, chaos in my life. And here's what my Me Too friend did for me. See, you know what let me explain to you what a Me Too friend is. A Me Too friend is one of those guys who's going to be real with you. Okay? I'm a Me Too friend for you. So listen, I'm serious. So you go and you say, hey, when you read your Bible sometimes at night and you get mad because you don't understand what the heck that word is saying, hey, me too, bruh. Me too. Hey, when you pray at night sometimes and you fall asleep, me too. When you're driving down the road and someone cuts you off and you want to give choice words and give choice fingers, hey, me too. But then I remember I'm driving a van with a logo on it. It's hard to do those things. And you live in a small town. They'll find out I'm the only big Mexican in that town, so it's not very hard. But that's a Me Too friend, someone being real with you. Being real. Hey, sometimes I don't like going to church. Me too. Sometimes I don't like socializing with other people. Yeah, me neither. You need a Me Too friend in your life who's going to be real with you when they need to be. Joe held no punches. I know that God specifically put that man in my life because he holds no punches. He don't sugarcoat nothing. He don't baby me. He's real with me. He's a Me Too friend. He's a Me Too friend that took me from from California to Oklahoma. As a broke down gangster guy who didn't know nothing. Now from the feet to the ankle, I'm almost a country boy. I'm almost there. I got my boots on. That's what it do to you, man. God transformed me to do whatever, I'm telling you. I never thought in my life I would wear some boots, but I'm wearing boots. I am. And I'm proud of it, man. I'm proud about the transformation God's doing in my life. I'm excited about the transformation and where God's brought me from. If you know my story and you know where I come from, that man Joe Velasquez, he's my Me Too friend. He's not allowed to have, you can't have him. He's taken. Y'all find your own Me Too friends. I was kidding. But I'm telling you what, man, he's more than words can say for me, man. He saved my life. He did. He's those guys in the Bible's talking about. He dug that hole for me. He laid me down. He put me in front of Jesus. He took me to the cross. He took me to the cross. He wasn't scared. He had to do he had to make room in his house. He had to sacrifice a lot of things to bring me out here. I had no money. I had nothing but a futon and a bag of clothes. And he gave me life, him and his family, my cousin Nellie, their boys. They gave me life. They believed in me. They saw something in me that I never saw before. They believed in me. They were Me Too friends, man. He brought me all the way to the cross. And here's the thing. When you go through devastation sometimes in your life, it reminds me of when Peter, after Jesus was crucified on the cross. It reminds me when he was put on the cross and put in the tomb. What happened to the disciples? Jesus has been warning them and telling them, hey, this is going to happen. Y'all need to get ready. Get ready. Y'all need to get ready to have, this is about to take place. And they didn't listen. So after that devastation happens, after that Jesus is crucified and all that happens, then they get lost. It reminds me of when we were in Oklahoma, those people were just lost. How do we start over? How do we do this? How do we get back to where we were at? And here's Peter. And he goes back to what he was used to doing, being a fisherman. And sometimes when you have a group of people who are looking up to you and saying, come on, man, what do we do? After Jesus Christ, these guys, after Jesus died, they had no clue what to do. And Peter says, I'm going fishing. He says, I'm going fishing. Sometimes we go through disasters in our lives. Sometimes we're doing good, and then something bad happens, and we fall back, and we think that the right thing to do is to go back to what we're used to. Ask Joe, how many times did I tell you, I'm ready to go back to California. I can't stand it here. I don't like it. I can't do it. I can't. I knew it was a good thing, but I can't do it. And he never let up. Matter of fact, he shot straight with me. He said, if you know what, give one more week. If you don't like it, I'll send you back home. And man, I was waiting for that week to go by. I was like, yeah, I'm going home. Then I met a group called Master's Commission, and gosh dang it, they changed my life. They did. But I was going back. Now here's Peter and them. They're going back to what they're used to. They're back in this boat, and they're throwing their net over the side. And they're trying to catch fish. And they're wondering why it's not working. You ever do that? You ever try to go back to what you're used to and it's not working? You know why? Because it's not the problem is not where you're at. It's where you're throwing the net. Because where they were throwing the net, nothing was happening. They were trying to do what they were used to doing. But Jesus said, throw it on the other side. He said, but before that, here's what I love. Before they even recognized Jesus was on the shore, the one who recognized them was John, whom Jesus loved. You know, I believe with all my heart that the reason why that John recognized Jesus out of all those, because John was a worshiper. You know? John was a worshiper, man. I believe with all my heart, John was a worshiper. And wherever there is worship, you'll find a Jesus. I'll tell you that right now. Wherever there is a worshiper, you will find Jesus. Sometimes we feel like, man, I don't like worshipers, man. They move around too much. They bump me all the time. Man, they're always sweaty, man. It's always hot in Oklahoma, man. I don't want to be standing next to someone with their arms up and they smell. Man, you know what I'm saying? You find all these excuses. They're like, I don't want to be like that, man. I feel weird putting my hands up in the air. I feel weird screaming out to Jesus. I feel weird going to the altar to have somebody pray for me. I feel weird. I'm telling you right now, you better get into a place where you can worship. If you're not, you better hope that you're sitting next to a worshiper, because when praises go up, blessings come down, my friends. Joe was a worshiper. He was always a worshiper. Not just because he sings up here on stage. No. Because of the example. The person you see on stage is the same person you would see at home or on the street. Joe's never changed who he is. He's never changed his personality. He's never changed for not one person. He's stayed real with me. He's never changed. He might change in age, but he's never changed. He's a worshiper. And he recognized that there was a Jesus in Oklahoma, that something was happening. And he said, Rick, come with me, my friend. What do you got to lose? And here's the thing. I thought I had to lose a lot. I got family. I got my grandma out there who I'm taking care of. I got my brothers. Who's going to take care of them? Man, it's crazy. I got unfinished business. I got all these things going on, man. It's too much to give up. There's too much going on. Too much. And he says, come with me. Peter's on that boat. And Peter says, did you say that was Jesus? He said, that's Jesus on the shore. He threw that net over. Jesus tells them to throw that net over, and they did. And they caught so much fish. They said 153 fish. And they were pulling that thing over. They're pulling it. They're trying to get it in the boat, and they're screaming, come on, Peter, help us, man. This is the biggest catch we've ever had. That net's about to break. We need your help. And Peter couldn't take his eyes off Jesus. He said, yeah, hold on. hold on. I know there's fish. But John said that that's Jesus. He said that's Jesus out there. He said Jesus is on the shore. He said, so what did he do? Peter had to make a decision right then and there. Do I want the fish or the fish giver? And Peter jumped into that water and he swam to that shore. I had to make a decision that day when I was in California. I had to make a decision. Do I want my family? Do I want to hold on to what I think is important to me? And it is. Or is Jesus? Joe said that Jesus is over there. Joe said, I can be a brand new person over there. And here I go. Jumped into that water, just like Peter. I jumped out. I said, let's go. Drove down to Oklahoma, where God continued to change my life year after year after year that I was here. And Peter's on that shore, and he gets to the shore, and he walks up, and he starts to smell some fish cooking. Some good catfish hole cooking. I miss that, man. Y'all need to put a branch over there. I'll run it for you. I'll tell you what, man. He walks up on that shore, and Jesus is frying some fish. He's got that thing cooking, ready to go. Peter walks up on that shore with them. And they start to have this conversation. And Jesus is telling them, and he has to realize, Peter thought he gave up everything for Jesus. I thought I gave up everything in California for Jesus. But we never give up anything. God is not in the business of decreasing. He's in the business of increasing. What Peter noticed next is when he turned around and they were pulling that fish. They were pulling it on the shore. What he thought he gave up. What he thought he gave up was coming. And Jesus told him, here's the thing. What you wanted was raw. What I have for you, my friend, is cooked and ready to go. When you give your life to Christ, fully commit it. Fully give everything that you got. And you believe in his promises. His preparation for you, his plan for you is way bigger than you can ever ask, think, or imagine. When devastation happens in your life and you feel like you can't go on, you feel numb to the world, sometimes that happens. Find yourself a Me Too friend. Find yourself a friend who's not afraid to bring you to the cross. Not to tell you about Jesus. Not to say, oh, it's over there at that church. That church is real good. Or that one. No. Don't just tell them about it. Take them to the cross, my friend. You need a Me Too friend that's going to bring you all the way to the cross. And never think for once that you're giving up anything to serve God. He always has something better for you than you can ever imagine. As the team gets ready for this drama, I stayed on my notes. I'm proud of myself. I'll tell you what. You need a Me Too friend because we serve a Me Too God. Oh, we do. We serve a Me Too God. Let me tell you, we serve a Me Too Jesus. Jesus got up in their boat, right? Jesus got up into their boat. He got into their business. We serve a Me Too God, if you didn't know. We do. We need to get to the point in our lives where we can, even when we're going through storms, we still rely. Even if I can't feel you, God, I'm still putting my trust in you. We serve a Me Too God. Here's the thing. When God says, or you say, man, the world hates me, my job hates me, things are not going right, things are just falling apart in my life, man, I just can't do it. And in the world, I feel like just everybody's out to get me. And God's saying, hey, me too, my friend. They put me on a cross. They killed me, humiliated me. They hated me too. But listen, he rose from the dead, right? He's a me too God. And he wants to be in your world.
I close my eyes. There's a question deep inside. Will you guide me through the night? Will you calm the storms of my life? 'Cause all these walls I've built are comfortable, and the world outside is loud. When the voice I trust is fear and doubt, I don't need your guidance now. All my walls and my defenses fall to the ground. When the warmth of your light shines all around, your love is better than all the world can give. Your love is better than all the world can give. Will you save me from this emptiness? Will you lead me into peace? Will you save me from this loneliness? Will you hope my fears release? All my walls and my defenses
Pastor Ricky asked the question, how do we handle devastation? What do we do when devastation comes our way? And the answer is a lot simpler than it is. It's simple, but it's hard to apply. And that is, we have to return to the cross. We have to drop our pride. We have to break ourselves before the cross. We have to break ourselves before God. We can't bend our knee to lust. We can't bend our knee to depression. We have to bend our knee to God. And we have to return to the cross. And so today I'm giving you an invite to come and return to the cross. If you're devastated, you need to come and give it to God. You need to come and bend your knee before God.